We're back with more now. If you're looking for love these days, millions of people turn to the internet and online dating services. But how do you go about it? Is it safe? And what are the traps to look out for? My next guest can answer those questions. Christopher Smith is the author of a guidebook called Let's Meet Our Match, your complete guide to success in the world of internet dating. There's a copy of it right there. He's written the book from his personal experience because he uses these sites himself. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure, Nora. Thank you for having me.
First off, what prompted you to write this book?
Well, I would meet a lot of different ladies through the different sites, and during the course of our conversations, invariably, the conversation would turn around to the actual using of the sites themselves. And I found myself answering a lot of different questions and offering advice and maybe even helping them puff up their profile a little bit. And I would have ladies say at the end of the conversation, not all of them of course, but several would say, you know, you really ought to write a book. And I just filed that in the back of my mind and never gave it much thought. But I had time after being laid off from my job after many years and thought I would create a website. So the original idea came from a website where people could write in, ask questions, and I could answer them and hopefully help them navigate through the process a little easier. I showed the website to a lady, and she read what I had written on it. She said, I really like what you have written. She goes, but I think you should write a book. And I thought to myself, write a book? And it's not anything I'd ever contemplated.
And so you have, and let's talk about it.
Okay.
Let's get to what's in there. First of all, I want to ask you, a lot of people are afraid of the idea of internet dating. They feel that it's not safe and you're taking a risk. Is that true?
I don't think so. I don't think it's as big a risk as maybe it once was. Quite simply, if you just follow some simple steps, it can be very safe. And you can even go to the point of getting on a website to investigate someone before you meet them, if you have any questions or suspicions. But ask yourself this question: if you go that far, do you really want to meet that person? If you feel you have to find out about them through a third-party website that does background checks or anything like that, do you really want to meet that person in the end anyway? So it is safer if you just follow some simple steps. So
how do you decide? There are hundreds of dating websites out there. How do you decide which one to go with?
My recommendation is ordinarily pick one of the larger ones to start with.
Like?
And larger being the number of people that are registered users of it. One of those would be Match.com. They're the gorilla, okay? They're the monster site. They have the most registered users. The beauty of a site like that is that you can really narrow down your search criteria and still have a whole lot of choices left after you've done that.
What, you tell them, I'm looking for a non-smoker, I want somebody who's 6 feet tall, between the ages of...
Yeah, you can narrow it down quite a bit. Let's say you're a tall woman who doesn't particularly want to date a short man. So in your search criteria, you can narrow it down to someone closer to your height and find that you'll still have a lot of choices.
Now, free sites or paid sites?
The free sites are a little more easily navigated. Their graphics are clearer, their process is a little easier to get through, but if you're someone that has some experience at using your computer, it's really secondary. The free sites aren't quite as user-friendly, but other than that, there really isn't a significant difference.
And what's a niche site?
A niche site would be something where you have a particular interest, your occupation, a hobby, an activity, a belief, or a lifestyle. One of the ones, for example, might be singleparenting.com, and makes it easier. You can relate to someone else that's a single parent because you have time constraints, and it's not as easy for you to date having your career or your occupation and then your child or children to take care of. So a site like that might be your best.
It can narrow things down,
Absolutely.
Save you a lot of time.
Absolutely, yes.
You say that people have to go through a lot of trial and error if they're going to do this online dating thing.
Trial and error being you're liable to be interested in meeting someone just based on their pictures, and then you find out when you sit down with them that 5 minutes after you sit down with them, I just don't think this is going to work.
And sometimes you know right away, right?
Well, that's a whole big part of it. That absolutely is a whole big part of it. What they call chemistry. That's the term for that immediate attraction, whether it's there or not.
And you spent a whole chapter talking about chemistry,
Absolutely.
I think. Go ahead.
It's the most elusive element to the whole internet dating scenario.
Because if you don't have the chemistry,
yeah.
if the profile matches, it doesn't even matter.
If you see in the book, I even put quotes in there directly from profiles that make reference to the idea of chemistry.
Now let's talk about profiles, because you're on a number of sites and have been over the years, right?
I'm currently on 4.
Okay.
I've been on as many as 6, but I've narrowed it down to the 4 that I'm using now.
Okay. Let's talk about profiles and what you need to do or what you need to say in these profiles.
I like to say that one thing you want to do is you want to minimize it. It's very easy to sit down and begin to create your biography. And what you'll find is most people will just scan right through that. They'll read in the beginning a little bit, but then by the time they get part of the way down, they're done. So I recommend a 3-paragraph method for writing a profile. And that is something about yourself, something about what you like to do, your activities, things of that nature. And then the 3rd paragraph would be what you hope to find, who you're looking for, what you would like that person to be. And that is simple enough. It gets your message across. And anything else you want to communicate, if someone's interested in you or you them, you can work that out in your communications.
Now, we've got a shot up on the screen right now of one of your profiles. Tell me about this. But pictures are always...
Pictures are a necessity.
You have to.
Yeah,
Why?
you have to. Simply because the pictures are what draw the interest. They're the front door. They're the welcome mat to the rest of your profile. And if you don't have pictures on there, people are just going to go right by you. And there's almost no sense. The sites are set up for the pictures.
Do you have to be careful about what kind of pictures you put up there, though?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. These particular sites that I'm using, okay, they're generic in nature.
Right.
And so consequently, you'll notice most of my pictures are headshots, and yeah, I have one body shot from down in Florida.
So people can get a good look at you?
Absolutely, yes. Close up, let them see you, but it's not necessary to get into anything that you might consider provocative.
Let me move you ahead. If you find somebody that you want to date or you'd like to meet, talk about how you set that up and how you can be sure it's safe. Like, you have to be careful about where you do this.
On the internet, you would there's methods that the sites give you to make an initial contact. Some of them are called winks. Some of them are called icebreakers. Some of them are called, get acquainted, things like that. If there's interest being returned, then you can exchange emails through the site. Simple basic emails. And if you still feel that there's an attraction there, well, then you can exchange your own personal email address or your phone number.
And if you do decide that you're going to meet in person, what's like some givens? What do you have to do?
Well-lit, public place. One thing that a lot of the ladies do, they prepare an emergency call. And I'll sit down with someone, and within a half an hour, their phone's ringing. And they've set up to have someone call them to see that they're okay. But I suggest after that, once you feel comfortable and you're in a safe setting, put the phone away, turn the phone off, and pay attention to the person you're with.
Now, you've been doing this for a number of years.
Yes.
And in your book, you say you've got to have a tough skin. You've got to be willing to sort of...
Yeah, absolutely, because it can be very frustrating. It can be frustrating in the sense that you can begin making communications with someone, feel that you're creating a connection. Even though you've never met them in person, you begin to feel there's a connection there. And then when you meet them in person, it doesn't happen. There's no click, there's no chemistry. And so, yeah, you have to, the thick skin part of it comes from dealing with the frustration and the disappointment.
Where can we get your book? If folks are going to try and pick this up, where can they do it?
Currently, it's available on Amazon.com, and it's available on CreateSpace.com, which is, CreateSpace.com is the self-publishing division of Amazon.
Did you publish this yourself?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
You must have been motivated.
Yeah, once I got started, and my editor on the front, he's my best friend for 45 years. And once he said, "Go, let's do it, let's try it, let's see what we can come up with," we went from there.
All right, well, Christopher Smith, it's Let's Meet Our Match. Thank you for being here. And
my pleasure, Nora. Thank you for having me.
good luck in the online dating world.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Perspective New Jersey. I'm Nora Muchanic. We'll see you again next time. So long.